Hi, I'm Leta Greene, and I'm excited to be a part of the Purpose Project. So, being asked to do this, how did I find my purpose? And I know that there's amazing content being given. I don't know what it is. And I wanted to make sure that I give you guys something unique that maybe you haven't heard. And of course, we have to do the credibility piece. I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I've written 2 books, working on my 3rd. But most importantly, what I want to focus on the most is I am a mom. And I'm assuming that more of you have in common with the fact that I'm a mom than that I'm a speaker or an author, right? Because if you'd asked me before I was doing those things, well, let me get to my purpose, how I found my purpose. I found my purpose, one, through a lot of agonizing, difficult, hideous, hard pain. Aren't we supposed to just kind of flow to our purpose, that we just kind of find our purpose and it just feels right? For me, it was hard. It was about my character and who I was becoming. I wasn't doing my purpose, what eventually led to what I am at 46 years old. And I'm not talking just about my profession. I'm talking about that I wake up in the morning, I look me in the mirror, and I like what I see. And I'm not this, my soul, who I am. I like me. And getting to that point, getting to the point of that ultimate purpose of liking ourselves, because we're going to have to journey with us. That's what we're going to have to journey with, right? There's no compensation for, you've heard that quote, no success can compensate for failure in the home. I also like to say no success can compensate for failure of character, for failure of self-respect. So in discovering your purpose, you got to discover who you are. Now, if we base our significance, and what I mean by that is you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, every single human being, we need to have food, shelter, significance, belonging, however you want to phrase it. Go look up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can't really think about higher level stuff if your food and your shelter are not covered. But we all need a sense of belonging. We all need significance. And if you are putting your significance and your value outside of you, well, you're giving all of your power to outside of you. And so the first step of real purpose is figuring out what your value is. Now, I would put forward to you that your value is infinite and unchanging, and it cannot be taken away. Our ability to see that is what is affected. So brutal, hard, agonizing work. To become a mom, it took 10 pregnancies to have 3 kids. And my youngest daughter actually passed away after 54 days of life. And one of the interesting things that I learned in that, I'm working on this book. I'm not going into grief. That's not the purpose of this discussion. What I learned in that, there's never going to be a perfect day out there. You know, that day when I get the job, when I get the promotion, when I have this much money in the account, when I weigh this much, whatever it is that you have decided is that goal marker of success. I learned in the death of my child that I would never have a perfect day, because there would always be a very big piece of who and what I want in life missing. So would I put all of my joy and all of my purpose for this discussion based on that loss? And that's called grief, right? That's called people who can't move. People want us to move beyond it because it makes them feel comfortable, but it's not that you ever move beyond it. It's you learn new skills with it. And the gift is I am no longer waiting for that moment out there, because I make it happen within me. I wake up every day with a purpose to create the day that I want, the moments that I want. Eyeball time with my kids, eyeball time with my husband, connection time with my clients and the people I serve. That is a good day. that is a day full of meaning and value and purpose. Not how much money did I make, how much accolades did I receive, did I win? Those are all things outside of my control. And if I'm basing my significance, as I said, on something outside of my control, I can control how I react, I can control my attitude. And so finding my purpose really with the agonizing hard work and not putting it outside of me, but recognizing that I had something inside of me, infinite and of value. I'm talking about God. Now, I would have never chosen the path of life that I have. I would have never chosen to have my husband hit by a bus, or he have a massive heart attack, or have a degenerative hip and be in a wheelchair, or our daughter die. I would have never chosen any of those events. But those events, like the hard events of your life, they mold us. And we keep running away from the lesson because the lesson is uncomfortable. It's hard. It doesn't feel good. But the lesson is the gift. The hard is the gift. That's when we really have to be focused on, what am I becoming in all of this? What am I learning from this? What's my accountability? It's like one of my favorite words. I love accountability. What is my accountability in what I'm creating? Right? So in finding purpose, you have to find that connection with yourself. And when you're doing it from a source of God, it's going to direct you into places you would have never predicted. People talk about their vision, their life plan, their vision board, all of that. The life that I have right now was not on a vision board. In fact, I was making a vision board one time, and I got what the principle was, and people were doing it, and this was probably about 10, 12 years ago, so it was kind of new then, at least where I was. And as I was looking around everyone else's boards, I realized that I'd done it wrong in comparison to others, because they had, fancy dresses and a car and a house, and I didn't have any of those things on mine. It's because I already knew those things don't motivate you, really. I mean, they might get you excited. They might get a tingle in your toes. You might want them really bad, but will they get you up out of bed when you can't move your body? Nope. They won't even get you up out of bed at 5 a.m. if you really want to. I mean, how many of us want to be thinner, but we don't work out? We know what we need to do. We need to eat less, eat better, move more than we eat, right? But we don't do it. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. We have the knowledge, but we're not truly motivated. I'll tell you, the day I got motivated about my health is when I was having a hysterectomy, and I realized that people in my family tend to not have good health. And now that I was having a hysterectomy, my health wasn't going to be as in, the hormones of my body were not going to be my friend as much. And I'm actually thinner now than I was before my hysterectomy, because I started moving more and eating less and eating better. I know, crazy. But motivation for vanity didn't work. Motivation for a thing outside of me. But motivation because I wanted to be around for my people, because I didn't want to be a 70-year-old in a nursing home. I want to be a 70-year-old going on a cruise and eating too much shrimp, right? My whole perspective of it changed. Finding purpose is about finding out what we really, really want and what really will really, really motivate us into better choices. And death and grief and pain are amazing motivators. We spend a lot of time trying to help our children avoid pain and hurt and anguish. But guess what? I don't think that God, when he wakes up in the morning, is worried about our comfort. Why me? Why does this happen? Oh, this is terrible. That's not God's motive. God's motive, I believe, is to help us to learn, to grow, and to become better. And our avoidance of pain is our unwillingness to not lean into the lesson. But when you lean into the lesson, when you lean into the hard, when you lean into the grit of it, it's where you start to really pick apart where you could be doing better, what you need to learn, right? So stop trying to avoid pain as though it's some kind of failure, because pain is an amazing teacher. And failing, that's awesome. I love Alexander, no, not Alexander Graham Bell. No, why did his name just slip my mind? The one who created the light bulb. Edison. Yes, thank you. Edison. He had a deaf wife, by the way, and I'm fluent in sign language, so I love that. But he wasn't really nice to his deaf wife. But anyway, sometimes history doesn't help us. But on this one, he said that he learned 1,000 ways, or whatever number it was, to not create a light bulb. He didn't fail. Mickey Rooney, a great philosopher, singer, said that that you always pass failure on your way to success. We avoid pain because it's unpleasant, but that's where we learn. So when I found my purpose, it was at the end of losing my child, my husband having a heart condition, my wondering if I would ever be healthy again. And I didn't know. I was out of answers. I needed to know the grand why. So I got on my knees and I asked the master plan. What is it, God? What do you want? Without an ego of what I thought it should be, without a you need to give me this answer. That's my pride, because I'd done that plenty. I want kids. And I had 10 pregnancies, 7 miscarriages, and an infant loss to try to get them. And I had so firm in my mind 4 kids. If I had made a vision board, it would have had 4 kids on it. And I was willing to do so much to get there. That's awesome. But that wasn't part of my purpose. Yeah, it kind of sucks, right? And for somebody else, they might be like, well, great, good for you. We all have a different purpose. We all have a different plan of what it is that we may want. But I believe that our ultimate purpose in really becoming who we want to be, that no matter what is stripped away or taken from us, can only be defined with the understanding that our value is not defined by us. It is defined by our God. And when we go to Him and we ask Him, what do you want? What am I to learn? When I leaned into that question and that conversation with God, He showed me. And so all I have to do is do the work, because He's going to get me where I'm supposed to go. And so if there's a pandemic, if there are unforeseen things, if they're a failure, it's okay. Because I'm not the one who wrote this plan. I'm not the one who defined my purpose. My God did. And the more I lean into that, as C.S. Lewis talks about, one of my favorites, Christian philosopher, wrote Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Chronicles of Narnia, said that, we go to God and we're trying to make this cabin, and God's the architect with us, and God starts taking out a wall here and a support beam here and putting something, and we're like, whoa, we're making a cabin. He goes, no, we're making a mansion where you and I can dwell. We get really distracted in our lives, worried about how much money we make, as though our money defines our value. No, it doesn't. I've made $250,000 in a year, and I've scrubbed toilets for a living. It's just money, right? That is not your purpose. Your purpose is who you're becoming, what you're learning, what you're able to give to those that matter most in your life. And don't define it by what your job or your paycheck is. Your job or your paycheck may be a result of that purpose, but they are not the ultimate purpose. I found that through lots of hard, difficult pain, and when enough pride was stripped away, I got the answer. So I invite you to not wring your hands quite as much. Get on your knees. And I apologize if you don't believe in God. That's how I found my purpose. I do believe in God, because within 1 year's time, I've held both my husband in a heart attack in my arms, dead, and my daughter. And I will tell you that I was held back. I believe in God because I have felt His arms hold me. I have felt the presence of His wife in my life. I have felt the angels around me, and I've birthed some of those angels. Some people call them muses. I have a name for them. And knowing that and that kind of clarity, people will tell me all the time I'm fearless. No, I just don't fear what others could do to me. What I fear is disappointing my God and disappointing my children that live with Him. And that's a different kind of energy around it. So I invite you to get on your knees. lean into the lesson, and don't avoid the pain, because the pain is a gift there to give you something. So again, my name's Leta Greene. I wrote 2 books, How to Embrace Your Inner Hotness. I'm called Hotness. What can you do? It's a book on confidence, and a book called Love Me Too, and a book on how to overcome abuse. And I'm working on my 3rd, and it's called More Laughter Than Tears, about how to deal with grief and finding joy in the pain. So thank you. I hope this helps you to refine your purpose and to realize your infinite, unquestionable worth is not defined by your paycheck, but by who you choose to be. Thank you so much.